What's up, guys? It's your boy Keith here at the Doop Movie Podcast.
With your boy Brian. What's up, everybody?
We're going to be covering A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yes, this is affectionately known as Seth MacFarlane's Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And much like Seth MacFarlane compared to Mel Brooks, doesn't quite hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be going over this movie for fun and profit.
Yeah.
Mostly fun.
Mostly fun. Fun in quotation marks. We'll get to that in a minute. The movie, it has a $40 million budget. It made $87, $2 million. 16 in its first weekend. Premiered in third place behind Days of Future Past in its second week. And,
Jeez.
Yeah. And then Maleficent premiered that same weekend.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
So,
I would have pushed it back a week.
Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes they just don't have the option to.
It also pulled in $15 million on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
So, it made $100 million against a $40 million budget, all told. So it's not like this movie lost money.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. It has its crowd, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
People that are interested in it.
You tease of eventual final opinion deployment. I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
I find it really funny. It just kind of tickles me in that way.
Yeah.
And from what little pregame we've done for this podcast, I do not think that Keith shares my enthusiasm for this film.
No, this is my least favorite film that we have covered for this podcast.
Wow, strong words.
I'm sorry, it's the truth. I mean, at least for now. Well, let me just watch this on my birthday. Just because I have the time for it before I go out to dinner, and then, So,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I mean, it's not... Whenever people say that a film is like a steaming pile of garbage, or like a dumpster fire, or something along those lines, like this isn't at the bottom of it. This isn't like in the middle, like it doesn't start the fire. It's just like basically if there's like one little piece of paper that might have flown on top of it, like it's not that bad.
Okay,
it's not terrible, but it's just not my favorite of the movies we've seen.
Okay. And we will get into it, and we will figure out why here on the Doop Movie Podcast. So yeah, this is A Million Ways to Die in the West. It came out in 2014. Written, directed, produced, and starring Seth MacFarlane, who you might know from The Orville, or I think he does some incidental voices on this TV show nobody's ever heard of called Family Guy.
Or American Dad.
Yeah, or Cleveland Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody knows who Seth MacFarlane is.
Nope.
He hasn't made any other movies besides this one. Ted! Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Which Ted is probably more successful.
Oh, Ted is way more successful. It was the massive success of Ted that got this movie produced. This was his passion project. So yeah, directed by Seth MacFarlane, who also plays the lead character, Albert. The movie opens...
in Arizona, 1882. And this is old style opening too, which that's one of the the pros of it.
Yeah,
like
the score and the opening are very Blazing Saddles.
It's definitely very Western.
I think they even use the same font.
I'm sure. It's this little town called Old Stump,
which because it's a town built around an old stump.
Yeah. There was this joke later on in the movie, and I was like, well, why don't they just move slightly to the left so they didn't have to worry about this old stuff? And then there's no answer.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it probably makes more sense. Albert Stark. Most of my notes, I just label him as Stark.
It's fine.
It's Albert.
Yeah, that's Seth MacFarlane's character.
He is a sheep herder. At some point, he causes trouble. He avoids the standoff through money, like he's trying to bribe this gentleman.
Well, yeah. So the opening scene is Stark is late for a duel, and there's a guy calling him out.
Yeah.
Right,
like his sheep is doing something to his property.
The sheep grazed up part of his farmland, and the grass is never going to grow back.
Yeah.
And so he's pissed, and he's going to fight Albert, and Albert doesn't fight. He is not a fighter at all. He's not a violent man. He's not a good shot.
No.
So, and this is
which is why
this is an Old West style, high noon duel, right? Draw and shoot.
Yeah.
So he's like. In the first of what will be a running series of gags in this movie, Seth MacFarlane takes and goes and kind of riffs off of their shadows, and it makes it look like the guy he's about to have a duel with is sucking his penis.
Yeah.
Giving him some fellatio.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, thanks. I'll tip the hat when I'm ready to go. And
which really isn't like, okay, he's not one for conflict, but that seems like something that would, aggress more conflict. Like, I understand it's a funny little joke, but, he definitely should have been more conflict heavy if that was the joke that he wanted to make. But, he's just having fun at this rate.
Exactly.
But he sees a doctor about a bullet graze.
Yeah, because he was, while he was making the joke, the guy, like, shot him.
Yeah.
But it grazed was it his leg or his shoulder?
I think it was his leg.
Yeah, it grazed his leg. And he goes to the doctor about it, but at this point he goes on a date with his girlfriend, Louise.
Yeah.
Right, down to the river for a picnic.
Yeah. She's just like, look, I'm just not impressed with you at all. Like, the way that you handled yourself back there, I'm just going to leave you now because, I'm an old woman and I'm not trying to marry you pretty much.
Yeah, she's like, she's 19.
Yeah.
She's getting on in years. She's got to get married.
Right.
Because remember, this is 1882, where the average lifespan was 40.
Yeah.
Right? So, and
Roughly.
this is Louise, played by Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
She's funny in the role. Most of these characters are kind of one note.
Yeah.
So she's kind of the bitch.
Yeah.
Right? I will say they do make jokes about her eyes being big in the movie. And from interviews that she and Seth MacFarlane have done since, those jokes were her idea.
Yeah, I found that out.
He's not punching down at her.
Yeah, I found that out, throughout one of his interviews about the movie. I think it was Jimmy Fallon or
Craig Ferguson?
Yeah, Craig Ferguson. Yeah, it was one of those.
It was the Ferguson interview.
Somebody.
It was the Ferguson interview where I learned it.
Yeah, so that must have been the one.
So anyway, so she breaks up with him, and he's like, "But I got shot today."
Yeah,
and he did.
He did, but
I
mean,
I realized we never said this. He got out of being killed by telling the dude he's going to sell some of his sheep and pay him for the land he lost.
Yeah. Avoid standing up through money. That's probably what that note was about. Yeah, he basically bribes him to getting out of being a man and whatnot. He has this friend. His friend's name is Ed. He is engaged to this prostitute.
Yeah, Edward, played by Giovanni Ribisi, and he's real funny in the role. Like he's the naive, slimy, but like really trusting and fun friend.
Yeah.
His note is he doesn't understand the world.
No.
Like his girlfriend Ruth, played by Sarah Silverman, is a full-on prostitute in a brothel.
Yeah.
Right. At one point, and he is fully aware that she's a prostitute and fully fine with her being a prostitute, and yet happily tells everyone that she and him are saving themselves for their marriage.
Right. Because, sex as a profession is different than sex, really.
Yeah. When the madam of the brothel brings it up, she's like, you're okay with your girlfriend, like, having sex with, 8 or 10 guys a day? And he's like, yeah, my work sucks too.
Yeah. Pretty much,
She's like, you make shoes, though. Yeah. And then, like, she comes downstairs and he pulls out a handkerchief and wipes some fluid off of her face.
Cum.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Guess we're saying goodbye to the family-friendly dollars on this one.
I mean, it's Million Ways to Die in the West. Family-friendly has left the door.
You know what? You are not wrong.
By the time we started to cover this movie. I mean, that's definitely the audience that this movie is trying to go to.
Oh, yeah. So, now we go to the bar with Ruth and Ed and Albert, and they're kind of commiserating the breakup, right?
Yeah, basically, they were just trying to, ease them up. It was like, well, try to get yourself better, pretty much. Yeah, Stark goes off on a tangent.
About how many ways there are to die in the West.
A million ways to die in the West. Like, there's this huge... There was like a few minute scene, there's some funny examples in between there. I had this little note here, telling not showing. And, like, in a movie like this, I would have appreciated if, like, instead of having this little, gathering talk and, like, them just, like, describing funny things, actually me seeing the funny things.
Yeah.
More often, like, whenever he went outside and, like, the mayor was out there dead and the dog's driving.
That's my favorite joke in the movie, is in the middle of his everything sucks about the West rant. He just leads him outside and goes, "That is our mayor. He is dead. He has been dead for 3 days. For 3 days, the highest office in our town has been occupied by a dead guy, and no one has done a thing. And oh look, here come the wolves to drag away the mayor. Have fun becoming wolf shit."
Yeah.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. And like if they did more stuff like that, like again showing and not telling, you know, I would have appreciated it a little bit more. But you know, it's funny in concept. Like there are plenty of ways to die in the West. Like you know, there's this notion of this romanticizing of the West without even realizing like the real world consequences of it.
Yeah,
you know, like there's no indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like there's disease everywhere.
Yeah, dysentery, the black shit.
You know, the black shit of all things. Like there are literally a million ways to die in the West.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. It cuts to this passerby with some gold.
He's a prospector.
You know,
is this old dude and his dog.
You know,
are coming down from the mountain where they've been prospecting, panning for gold. He's talking to his dog. He's like, "I'm going to buy you a whole steak."
You know, the dog's name is Plugger, by the way. Plugger, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, Clinch intercepts.
Now, this is Clinch Leatherwood, the most notorious gunfighter and the like most infamous bandit in the territory.
Yeah.
Played by Liam Neeson.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Who only agreed to do the role if he could keep his accent.
Yes.
So that's why we have an Irish Clinch Leatherwood.
And that's supposed to be like, I'm just running off of this joke about, because Seth MacFarlane made a joke about Liam Neeson being like an Irish, cowboy or something along those lines. Like he made a joke on his show, Family Guy, at one point in time about that. So I was like, well, let me just do that.
Yeah.
Let me just actualize and just be that character.
Which turned out really well, because I mean, Clinch is only in the beginning and the end of this movie, but he's funny in what he does, and he's Liam Neeson. He can be intimidating.
Yeah.
I've seen Taken.
Yeah.
I've even seen Taken 2. Haven't seen the third one.
I've only seen the first one.
How many times can one dude's family get kidnapped? I mean, seriously.
I don't know, but there are plenty of other Taken wannabes as well.
True.
So I'm sure that's what.
Then again, Liam Neeson, who will always and forever be Qui-Gon Jinn, in my mind. But then again, I'm a gigantic Star Wars nerd, so that should not come as a surprise to any of our 4 viewers.
No.
Yeah.
None of them. Hopefully not. Yeah, so apparently, but like they get into this, conversation, and then he challenges him to a duel, pretty much.
Challenges the old guy. Clinch challenges the old guy to a duel.
Yeah, the prospector, and then, because he says, like, well, there's only one reason you're going to head back this early in the day, and as if he finds something, so basically he knows he has gold. So he's like, well, on the count of 3, let's go ahead and go
shoot.
for it and shoot, and then he's shot on the 2.
Yeah, 1, 2, bang.
1, 2, bang,
And so the old dude dies, and Clinch takes the gold, and Clinch's girl, Anna.
Wife.
Wife, played by Charlize Theron, who is, my God, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't have to kill him, Clinch. He gave you the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, the point is I had to ask him twice.
Yeah.
Like, that's intimidating, right?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Clinch is a bastard.
Yeah. Let's see. My next note. Kelly Cuoco wanted cloth. That's probably part of like the cut version, because I watched the uncut version as well.
Okay.
But basically, just this little scene, Kelly Cuoco makes this. She's shopping for cloth. Albert Stark, he's trying to get his confidence back up. He's trying to talk to girls, so on and so forth. And
right, because he just got broken up with.
So he's just trying to, get back and forth. But this scene has no real, importance to the movie, which is why they probably cut it out. You know, I just want to make that mention just because, I like Kelly Cuoco.
Mm-hmm.
I recently saw her on the show called The Flight Attendant. I really appreciate that show. I'll talk to you more about it later, Brian.
Cool. I look forward to it.
His mother dies. Yeah, Stark's mother, passed it away.
Mm.
They go to a funeral, and like, there's this little bit where these other guys are like carrying around a dead man. I was like, oh well, I mean, you already got one dug up. You want me to just throw this one in there with them, like sharing the grave with other strangers, for whatever reason.
Which, I mean, happened a lot to poor people in the West. That's the whole point of this movie, is that it's kind of a meta joke on its own concept, because the concept is real. The American frontier in 1882 was a shithole full of a million ways to kill you.
Yeah.
And people romanticize it like it was this great thing, and it really was dirty and it was nasty. It was full of disease and bandits and Indians who were basically sharing this country with 50-50 at this point. I don't have any idea why they're mad. And that may sound like a super tasteless joke, for our native friends and our First Nations friends, and it is a super tasteless joke against our First Nations friends, and I only said it because it's literally a joke in the movie.
Yeah.
So
they said that at the fair, and like.
So anyway, I'm jumping ahead. So we're still. Where are we?
I mean, well, it's I don't know, it's coming up pretty close. I just see the mother dies. There's a funeral there. Let's see, Foy and Louise. I don't know why I have that note.
Yeah, Foy, who runs the mustachery.
Right? There we go. Louise is there we go.
Is Louise's new beau, like Beux, right?
Yeah.
He is a smarmy asshole of the highest order, and he is played to perfection by Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
That man might be one of the most talented men I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's for me, he'll always be Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
But
I mean, they make a reference to that later on.
Yeah.
Down the line.
But it's so. He has one really funny scene, which we'll get to when we get to it. It's the duel, but we're not going to explain why till we get there. But he is such a great foil for other characters in the movie, for Anna, for Albert, for basically anybody he interacts with. Yeah. It's NPH. You watch this movie just for his performance.
Yeah.
Right. So Foy and Louise are now dating.
Yeah.
Right. And it's when
I mean, he's rich too. He runs this, little mustache.
Yeah, the mustachery. What was really funny is I was on Twitter at the time this movie came out, and somebody asked Seth MacFarlane how much Foy's mustache cost to maintain. Right. And he said in the movie terms it cost about $18 a day in creams and powders, and because he has the Snidely Whiplash twirly mustache. Yeah. Right. And mustaches are kind of big. They're a subplot in the film.
Right.
But they're never they never affect the way the story goes.
Yeah.
But this film is a little bit aimless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it has the whole plot with those two friends we were mentioning earlier, the prostitute and Ed. Ruth and Ed,
they're Albert's friends. Yeah.
They're going about and they focus on the concept of having a relationship with somebody who's also a prostitute, so on and so forth, and the dynamics of that. There was a tour through a town, and this ice block crushes someone's head. Yeah.
So. Albert and Ed are walking along, kind of fucking Foy, man. He took my girl.
Yeah.
And then Ed's like, look, they're bringing the ice block. And so Albert starts to explain, because he's a huge nerd, to Ed, they chop these blocks up from frozen rivers up north in Canada, or from the French territories is what they call it at this time, and they chop him in blocks so big so it doesn't melt on its way down here.
Yeah.
So we'll get a shipment of ice once a month and use that for the whole town. And as he's doing this explanation, the rope breaks and the ice falls and just immediately creams some dude's head.
Yeah.
And when I say creams, I mean literally turns his head to cream.
Yeah.
Like brains splatter up everywhere.
Yeah.
And the Seth MacFarlane's reaction is what kind of makes this joke funny. Because he's like, oh my God, that happened so fast. And later we find out that they're still using the ice.
Yeah.
Because they're in the middle of Arizona in 1882. They need ice.
Yeah, they need that ice, more than that person's head.
Yeah.
Let's see. After that, there's a scene in a bar. There's a breakout fight at some point. And
this is where Clinch has sent his wife and his right-hand man. This is Anna, again, played by Charlize Theron, and his right-hand man, Lewis, played by Evan Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Are going to hide out in Old Stump because apparently Clinch and his gang just robbed a stagecoach.
Yeah.
Right?
And of course, Clinch is too well known to be seen out and about.
Yeah, so he's got to go hide in a cave for a few weeks while Anna and Lewis hole up in Old Stump and kind of keep their ear out for news to see, if they're still hunting. When they're no longer hunting for Clinch, that's when he can come out and come looking.
Pretty much.
So they come into the bar. They're first introduced in the church scene. Right after the ice, right? Because the pastor,
that's right.
Right, the pastor is like, we want to introduce our new people, Anna and Lewis, their brother and sister.
In town.
They're here to start a farm. We wish them God bless, and there's a cougar warning in effect, and get out.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So they get into the bar, and Anna gets a drink and proceeds to just kind of sit there and She orders a drink and she gets the drink, and Lewis, being Lewis, picks a fight with a guy in the bar.
Right.
And then when the guy disrespects him, Lewis shoots him.
Yeah.
And this starts a bar brawl.
Yeah.
Right? Which leads to kind of another funny joke where Ed and Albert are in the bar. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the brawl breaks out, they jump off into a far corner and start like randomly swinging their fists back and forth, but not actually hitting each other.
Exactly.
In a really comical, like, obviously not hitting each other.
Yeah.
But they're constantly saying things like, no one wants to get in on this. This is super violent. No one, it's...
And it's pretty pretty well choreographed. Like the fight choreography on it is actually fairly impressive.
Bit of thing when they were doing the breaking stuff and throwing stuff around. Yeah, a bit of a piece of trivia.
I know what you mean.
This is secondhand from a Reddit thread from Seth MacFarlane's AMA on Reddit. So okay. Don't know if this is real or if this is just from something else. But from the rumor I heard, there's a scene in the bar fight. Somebody swings a bottle around, somebody else ducks it, and they're supposed to smash it on the post in the middle of the bar.
Okay.
And there's a spark and a little flame. Only there's no electric lights in Old Stump.
Right.
Right? That was actually started a small fire on set where they accidentally hit a wire, an exposed wire with the bottle.
Oh.
And nearly blew up the thing. Because there was all that... It wasn't real alcohol, but there's, fake glass shards flying around. It's a wooden set. There was a spark and a little bit of a fire. That's why it cut away from that scene so fast. Mm. And then when it re-edits back together, that light fixture is still there. So that was just an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. At some point.
Well, I mean, if you want, I can just go forward from this point, because in that same scene. This is how Albert meets Anna.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because at some point, she's going to get hit with something. Or...
Yeah, the balcony's going to collapse with a couple of people on it.
That's what it is.
And he tackles her out through the front door.
Right.
As the balcony collapses. Right? Yeah. And this is how Albert and Anna get introduced.
Yeah. Which is definitely going to be, a coming point later on. Let's see. Lewis gets arrested based on all of that, pretty much. You know? So, it's just Anna out and about in the town.
Yeah. And she makes friends with Albert.
Yeah. Yeah. My next note is Charlize Theron has great tits.
She really does.
But I just want to clarify, that is a line that was written. I'm pretty sure that was probably an improv line that she came up with herself.
Oh, yeah. Because she and Albert are kind of like sitting out in the middle of watching the sunset, and they're kind of, it's getting dark, and they're just kind of out talking.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, you have to take me to the fair. I've always wanted to go to the fair.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to the fair. People, it's awful. And she's like, no. Take me to the fair. There's no better way to get a girl back than to make her jealous by showing up with a new girl. Plus, I got great tits.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, and so, yeah, I think that might have been an ad-lib.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like, from interviews, a lot of people were super game and had a lot of fun making this.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 3-month shoot, so it wasn't exactly rushed. Mm-hmm. It wasn't hellish to work on.
Yeah.
From everything I've heard.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were riffing and making fun, and especially Neil Patrick Harris did a lot of riffing on his lines.
Yeah. Like,
a lot of Foy's affectations in the movie were all NPH, like the look was originally, he did it making fun of Seth MacFarlane's Peter Griffin laugh.
Yeah.
that he does.
I can see that.
And he thought it was so funny that he made that just Foy's, go-to exit line whenever he exits a scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Charlize Theron, she's not really, like, one for comedy so much, Like, she's been in this movie, like, a few years back, young adult, but that's, like, more of, like, a character study, like, dark comedy, more so. Like, this one's more, like, straight-on comedy.
Oh, yeah, she's got good timing, though.
Yeah, she does, and she has pretty good chemistry with Seth MacFarlane, too, actually.
Which was weird, because they were nominated for a Razzie for Worst Chemistry.
I know. But, they just want to pick on a movie, pretty much, and that's one of the movies that they want to pick on,
It was nominated for 4 different Razzies.
Yeah. What were the other ones? Do you have them written down?
I didn't have them written down, but I remember them. It was Worst Actor, Seth MacFarlane. Worst Actress, or Worst Director, Seth MacFarlane. Worst On-Screen Chemistry was Seth MacFarlane and Charlize Theron. And I think Worst Writing as well. Which, again, written, produced, starring, this is the Seth MacFarlane show starring Seth MacFarlane.
Pretty much.
Featuring everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. There's a date at the fair. So he ended up taking her to the fair. Which, he's doing this to make his, ex jealous or something when, you know, she's here with this, you know, amazing woman, which he doesn't realize initially. But my next note is, like, snacking and tobaccing. You know, there's a lot of, like, back and forth, you know, banter between the two of them. Mm-hmm. She can't stand the fact that, like, somebody is, like, chewing tobacco. You know, if he's been snacking, if he's tobaccing, he can't be snacking. Pretty much something along those lines, just based on his gums. You know, which is pretty funny. It was pretty good delivery of the joke.
I like the fair scene because there's a lot of background funny stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, he takes Anna to the fair.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Anyway, after that,
they're at the fair. They get distracted by, like, all these people trying to sell them stuff it's literal garbage.
Yeah, it's like there's medicine. A snake oil salesman who sells a tonic with, like, morphine and cocaine and flannel in it. So there's pieces of shirt in this.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. And then there's this game that, you know, they both get
the shooting gallery.
You know, tempted to play. Yeah, the shooting gallery, which is a little, you know, it is a little tasteless, but okay, you know, it's funny for the time frame. Like, it's why society, you know.
It's called Runaway Slave, right? And so you shoot the runaway slaves.
Yeah.
And they lampshade this joke in the end credits scene, which I really like, but we'll get to that when we get there. Yeah. So they make tasteless jokes, but the movie also doesn't dwell on them or also notices that it's a tasteless joke.
Right. And
right.
Make the comment.
And makes a meta comment about it being tasteless, all except for one tasteless joke.
Because, I mean, like just the nature of it making a satire itself is tasteless in general.
I mean, you know, Mel Brooks got in a lot of trouble for using the N-word in Blazing Saddles.
Right.
Even though it was appropriate for the story being told.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's not like this is new territory for this kind of movie.
Right. Right.
You know.
There's this shooting challenge, basically. Foy's there, being a douche as always, you know.
With Louise.
Yeah, and the couple see each other, basically.
Yeah, and this is where Louise really shows off her being a bitch, because she's like, oh, brave of you to wear that dress. I owned that dress 2 years ago.
Right.
Like,
come on, man. Really?
What's and Anna responds with one of her great deliveries of, like, yeah, I don't see the point in throwing away perfectly good things.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right.
It's like a sneak in. It was like, oh, this man's pretty good. I'm after him, pretty much.
Yeah, because at this point, Anna is trying to help Albert win Louise back.
Right.
Because that's what Albert says he wants.
Yeah.
Right?
Super selfless of her, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say, because Foy shoots first, and he does fairly well. You know, at the shooting gallery game. Then Albert shoots, and he does piss poor. You know,
yeah, he doesn't hit a single target.
Doesn't hit a single one, and like they make jokes about that. But then, they're on Anna. Yeah, Anna was just like, well, why don't I just bet you this? Why don't I, like, if if I shoot for him, then you have to pay me $1, pretty much.
Yeah, if I can outshoot you, you have to pay me $1. And
everybody in the audience was like, "Oh my god, $1! I've never even seen $1."
Yeah, because the original bet was for like a penny per target, right? Yeah. So now Albert had to give Foy 6 pennies because he got 6 targets.
Right.
And it's like, well, let's up the stakes. If I can outshoot you, then you have to pay Albert $1.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's like, crank it up as fast as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy just starts really cranking the wheel, and the thing's going back and forth. And she whips out 2 pistols and just bang, 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 and knocks all the targets down.
Yeah.
Just never misses a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was so impressed by that. So Foy whips out the $1 from his coat pocket, and everybody was
the crowd goes, oh!
Boy, take off your hat! That's $1!
Take off your hat, boy! That's $1 bill!
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny. God, this movie's... I love this movie.
That's cool.
I love this movie because it's a turn your brain off comedy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so he gives Albert the $1, but then they're kind of japing and jiving at Albert, and he gets kind of pissed.
Yeah.
And he challenges Foy to a duel.
That's right.
And he's like, let's have a duel tomorrow, noon. And Anna's like, oh, shoot, no, tomorrow doesn't work for me. I got stuff to do. Next week.
Yeah.
A week from now.
Yeah, trying to buy him time, basically.
Yeah, basically.
You know.
And so Foy accepts the duel, and so now it's on.
Yeah.
Right? Now Albert and Foy are going to duel ostensibly for the hand of Louise.
Pretty much.
Right? And as they're leaving, Albert loses his shit. He's like, "Oh God, what the fuck did I just do?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I can teach you how to shoot in a week. Don't worry about that."
But I'm not some offhand bandit like Clinch or something like.
Yeah,
he mentions Clinch offhandedly.
It's like, what am I, Clinch Leatherwood?
You know.
And she's like, "No, Albert, you're nothing like Clinch Leatherwood.
Right.
And that's why I like you."
Yeah.
Like, now he doesn't know that she's Clinch's wife.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
He still thinks that Lewis is her brother. She doesn't actually lie to Albert, but she doesn't tell him the truth either. She lets him believe the lie that Lewis told.
Right. People die at the fair. You know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like people are going to die.
People die at the fair. There's
That's why I never come to the fair. People always die at the fair. You know?
Yes. There's at one point the picture. The guy taking photographs, his light explodes, and he catches fire and dies. At one point, the people who were having their photograph taken spontaneously catch fire, and the two guys running the shooting gallery have to blow them away with rifles.
Yeah.
The guy who was selling tonics made of morphine and shirt gets gored by a bull who just randomly comes through the fair for no reason. Mm-hmm. People die at the fair. That's kind of a running thing. Mm-hmm. So they leave. And now we cut to a montage of
Anna teaching,
Anna trying to teach Albert how to shoot.
Yeah.
And there's a really funny visual gag where she's teaching Albert how to be a cowboy. Right. She's teaching him how to, ride and he knows how to ride a horse, but like how to catch stuff while he's riding and how to do tricks, how to do shooting. And at one point she shoots a bunch of cans off of a fence from like 60 yards or whatever. And he tries and misses, and he stalks forward about halfway, so he's 30 yards, and he shoots and misses. And he stalks forward, so he's only 5 yards away, and he shoots and misses. And he stalks forward, so he points the gun, almost puts the barrel against the can, pulls the trigger, and the can does not move.
Yeah. So that last one was pretty good.
This movie is full of cute little visual gags like that.
Yeah. Let's see. My next note is the pot cookie sunset. So Anna and Albert are like watching the sunset. She has a little pot cookie.
Yeah.
And they share it, and like they talk about life and stuff at this rate. Mm. And he's not really the type to be doing drugs like
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna freak out. You're not gonna freak out. He's like, last time I did something like this, I was sure that gerbils could talk to me. Yeah. And at one point a gopher pops up. And Albert in full freak out mode is like, he knows what we did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But she's crazy about him. Like, it's obvious in these scenes that Anna is crazy about Albert.
Yeah.
Right? He's everything Clinch Leatherwood is not, and that's everything she's ever needed.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a kind, respectable man.
Yeah. Well, respectful, not respectable.
Yeah. Well, right. But, I mean, he can be, though. He...
Yeah.
Let's see. Clinch runs into boy chasing lizard. Yeah. Yeah, Clinch is still, out and about hiding and stuff. And like there's this random family that's coming through.
Okay, so I watched the theatrical version. I don't remember this scene.
Okay, they must have cut this scene out too.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Because in the theatrical version, you don't see Clinch again until the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this one in between, because I think, Clinch finds out something in this thing, I think. I don't know. I think he did rob a stagecoach, because I think this is the scene whenever he was robbing the stagecoach.
Okay.
Or something along those lines.
Or maybe it's a flashback to it?
No.
He robbed the stagecoach before the movie started.
Before the prospector?
Yeah, because that's why they're...
Because
I thought, from the way the theatrical is done, I thought the order of events was they robbed the stagecoach, and now they have to lay low for a while. And he just happens to run into the prospector on their way to their hideout. And that's why he sends her and Lewis to Old Stump. Mm-hmm. Maybe, now that I think about it, he does say in that scene with the prospector, once we take the stage.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe they're planning to rob the stagecoach, and he sends...
So this must be the scene.
Okay.
Robbing the stagecoach scene,
Again, this movie's a little bit aimless.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be thought about. It's meant to be just, oh, that was funny,
Yeah. There's a scene at the bar shortly after this. Bill Maher has this little stand-up routine. There's this running joke, and he plays a part of it. This was somewhere earlier in the movie, too. Because Albert went on a date with this little girl.
Yeah, who is 12.
Literally 12 years old, and she's getting, old. So
she's like, I don't want to be one of the 16-year-old spinsters.
Yeah.
Spinsters. So I'm looking for my husband.
Yeah. You know?
Like, and
it's that's crazy. But yeah, like Bill Maher has a date with her, and like they keep going back to this joke, and it's like I don't know if I find this one funny that much. Like they make a lot of jokes about women being old and all that stuff, or being too young to be married. Like they definitely hit you in the head with it too many times. Mm-hmm. But the scene, because there's a dance scene after this.
Yeah, it's the festival right before. It's like the town festival. And it's right before the day of the duel,
right?
When he's going to duel Foy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's making good progress at this rate,
Yeah, he's getting to the point where he can hit the can, 1 out of 6 times.
Right.
So he even says, so all I have to do is have Foy let me shoot 6 times to his every 1, and I'll stand a chance.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So they go to this dance, and it's a shindig.
Yeah.
Is what it is, and she shows up in a full on bustle gown dress with like the metal, skirt piece. Mm-hmm. I forget underpinning or whatever it's called. And they make a sort of tasteless joke like, if I was a black guy, I'd be so upset because it's like, oh, a fat ass, my favorite. Oh no, it's fake.
Yeah.
Like that joke didn't really
like I would still like a fat ass. Like it doesn't matter about the color of my skin.
Yeah, that he could have left off the black guy reference, and that joke would have landed just as hard as it did. Yeah. He could have just been like, if I really liked fat asses, I could have been like, oh, this is my favorite, a fat ass.
Yeah, I know. That would have been funny.
Yeah, it would have been the same level of funny as it was, and they wouldn't have had to make the racial reference.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would just would have been funny without the racial reference, and that just kind of like downpours it.
Yeah.
For me personally. Let's see. But there's this great song, and actually they do pretty decent dance choreography too. Mm. Like the fight choreography and dance choreography for this movie is pretty spot on.
Yeah, there's it's the line dance, right? It's the big, everyone lines up and does the traditional dancing, and Foy tips the band to play the song "If You Only Had a Mustache."
Yeah,
which I thought was written for the movie.
Yeah,
and most people thought was written for the movie. But according to research that I did 20 minutes ago, it was literally written by Stephen Foster in 1864.
Yeah.
This song, If You Only Had a Mustache, which the lyrics, they cut out a few of the lyrics because like in the actual song, the dude almost kills himself.
Right.
But in the movie, they sing this song, and it fits perfectly with the tone of the humor of the movie.
Yeah.
Because Foy's whole thing is mustaches.
Yeah.
And Albert is clean shaven.
Yeah.
He can't afford a mustache.
Yeah, like the upkeep of a mustache is too much for him to bear.
It's too expensive for him. At one point earlier in the film, he goes into Foy's shop and is like, I'm looking to, have a mustache that grows into my beard and becomes my hair.
Yeah.
And he's like, see what the Mobius mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Mobius. Well, that's a very expensive facial ornament, Albert.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's no way that Albert could afford a mustache, and so Foy is making fun of him for it. So anyway, this song was written by Stephen Foster.
Yeah.
And it fits with the tone of the movie, and it's a really funny song.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like Foy in the middle of it. They line dance Albert out the door of the shindig and into the dirt outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
trying to kind of like antagonize him before the day of the duel, so on and so forth. Trying to
So Anna's like, you want me to grab a bottle and get us the hell out of here? And Albert's like, I would love that.
Yeah.
Right? So she goes to Foy, and she's like, hey, Foy, I'm going to, I want to say good luck on the duel tomorrow. I just wanted to ask, talking to Amanda Seyfried, why would you give up on such a good guy like Albert?
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what Seyfried says, but there's something that Anna says here that I thought was really tasteless until I saw the interview.
Oh, yeah, the joke.
Yeah, where she's like, how can you be so blind with eyes that big?
Yeah.
Right? And apparently Amanda Seyfried wrote that joke.
Yeah.
So, like, this
I'm
movie...
with that now.
Yeah, this movie will punch down a couple of times, but it does go out of its way to not punch down for a lot of its stuff, and I kind of respect that.
Yeah.
Anyway, during that scene, she tries to outdrink, in finger quotes, Foy.
Yeah.
But loses on purpose, but slips some powder into Foy's drink.
Yeah, it gives him a Mickey.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was another thing. There's a note in between before that, I think. I don't know if this happens before this scene at the dance or this happens like after the dance, but Lewis finds his way out of jail pretty much, and he beats the sheriff to escape.
He kills the sheriff.
Yeah. He kills the sheriff to escape. Yeah, Stark and Anna. Okay, this is mixed in between.
Yeah.
Stark and Anna, after they leave there, Stark gives her this picture with a smile on it because he just described to her at the fair like how much trouble it is for somebody to smile for a whole 30 seconds.
Yeah, you have to smile for 30 uninterrupted seconds, and she's like, I don't think I've ever been happy for 30 uninterrupted seconds of my life.
You know, that was a good moment.
That
was a good callback. After that, there's this brilliant cameo.
Yes. Yeah, well, he walks her home.
Yeah, of course.
And they share a kiss.
Yeah.
Which she kisses him.
She kisses him, right.
And
we'll
then
make that clear.
Yeah, she kisses him, and then he kisses her back.
Yeah.
And after interruption number 7, so where were we?
The cameo.
Oh yeah, so he walks her home. She kisses him outside of the dance. And then when he walks her back to the hotel she's staying in, he kisses her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he's walking home, like, thrilled with himself and happy and all kinds of stuff, and he sees these lights coming out of a barn. And so he kind of rolls over to investigate, thinking there might be a fire or something. Right. And he opens the door, and there is Christopher Lloyd.
Doc Brown.
Full Doc Brown get up with the hair, and there's a DeLorean in there. Yeah. Then he quickly rolls a tarp over the DeLorean, and he's like, "What you got there?" "Oh, it's just a weather experiment."
Yep.
"Oh, okay." And he walks, and as he walks away, the dun da 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 Back to the Future theme starts playing, and Doc Brown goes, "Great Scott!" And then it cuts away.
Yeah.
This was the best cameo this movie could have done. I love it. I love it to pieces.
Yeah.
You will never convince me that is not a perfect scene. In a very imperfect film.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. After that, my next note.
We should totally do the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I met him one time. He signed the cover of my dad's DVD collection.
Christopher Lloyd?
Yeah.
Nice. Is he a good dude?
Yeah. I mean, he was really like, oh, yeah. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, the next scene. There's a scene in a bar. My next note is like a Ryan Reynolds cameo because like Clint's...
Oh no! Well, this is after the duel with Foy.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Reaching for the hat. That's my next note right here. So yeah. So Foy, after drinking the Mickey, shows up for the duel, and like he's not really, like he's having some bowel issues.
He's having some gastrointestinal distress.
Yeah. So like he's shitting all the way up there, pretty much. And like he's reaching for hats to shit in. Pretty much, and like this, and he was about to go again, and then this one guy has his hat, and he was like trying to reach for it, and he was like, no,
smacking his hand away.
Like, no, don't shit in my hat, no.
And he finally snatches the hat off the dude's head, and he shits in it.
Yeah,
like this is the second 10-gallon hat he's filled with diarrhea.
Yeah,
right. This is, and you see it flow out of the hat, like it's gross.
Yeah,
but when it's done, and Foy pulls his pants up, Albert's like, "You alright, Foy?"
Yeah.
"I'm good." Like, NPH's delivery of, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
Is just amazing.
Yeah.
And this is the part where Albert does the first really smart thing he's done all movie. He's like, "You know what, Foy? You can have her." And he drops his gun on the ground and walks away.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So now they're in the bar, and in walks Clinch Leatherwood. And he's like, "I hear somebody's been fooling around with something that's not theirs, or doesn't belong to them."
Yeah, somebody is fooling around with my wife.
Yeah.
Who is it? And like...
And it cuts to Albert and sitting with Ed, and Albert goes, "God, I'd hate to be that dude."
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
And then Clinch whistles, and Lewis pulls Anna in.
Yeah. And then he realized, like, oh, I am that dude.
Yeah. But there's another cute little cameo here where Clinch is like, "Was it you?" And he points, and there's Ryan Reynolds in full cowboy gear, who doesn't speak, but does like the Ryan Reynolds face thing, like the kind of thing that he does, and then just gets shot.
Yeah.
"More people are going to die if I don't find the man who's been kissing my wife."
Yeah.
Noon tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did he, I don't remember this part, if he like confesses to it right then and there, that he is the one? Or
No,
he just wait for it? Yeah.
No, he doesn't confess to it. Clinch leaves the bar, and Eddie's like, "Albert, you gotta get out of town."
Yeah.
Right? So Albert is up at his farm packing, right? He goes in and he's like, hey, he talks to his dad. And he's like, hey, Dad, there's a bandit after me. I'm going to have to leave town. I'm going to San Francisco. If I don't make it back just once, change seats. Just switch seats.
Well, I mean, the mother was already dead at this rate.
Oh, so that must have been earlier in the film. That's right. He was going to the outhouse.
Yeah.
That's earlier in the film. He's like, I'm going to go to the outhouse.
Yeah.
If a rattlesnake bites me and I die, just for me, just once, will you two switch seats? And the dad goes, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's Dad's only line.
Yeah.
Or, damn it, Albert, I said no friends.
Yeah. Then, there was this, because he goes on this vision quest.
Well, that's...
after this, and then
the
dad gets a line before that, too.
Yeah. Ain't no tooth fairy, agent.
Yeah.
But so Albert has run up to his farm to pack up and escape, and Clinch and Anna are riding off in the woods together.
Right.
And he sends the gang along so he can have some alone time with his wife.
Yeah.
And he basically...
circumstantial rape, basically.
Yeah. He's going to force himself on her, and he threatens her to tell him who the guy was that kissed her.
Yep.
And she won't tell him, and then he puts the gun to Plugger's head, the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, all right, it was Albert.
Yeah.
Right. And then, as he's like, thank you for telling me, and he starts to take his gloves off, and he starts to undo his pants, and he turns around to hang his gloves up, and this is when she smashes him on the back of the head with a rock.
Yep.
Right? And he collapses with his pants halfway down around his ankles. And he's face down in the dirt.
And Anna is about to leave, and he was like, oh, wait, I can't leave him like this. And then so she grabs a little daisy and puts it right between his butt cheeks.
Yeah, she grabs a rose and Daisy slides it into his butthole.
Yeah.
And
yeah, perfect.
Oh, it was great. And so the next scene is she goes to Albert's farm.
And they have this little argument, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have it out. He married me when I was 9. Yeah. My mom married me off. I didn't want to be a spinster. But I've never been me until I was with you, Albert.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love you too, but now it doesn't matter because I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, they hear Clinch shout, "Stark!"
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is when Albert's like, "You gotta run. Go run. There's a back way. Take the back way up to the train tracks and go. I'll distract him."
Yeah.
So Albert goes and hides in the field with his sheep.
And Anna gives him some advice before she leaves. And was like,
Clinch always shoots on 2.
Yeah.
So Albert hides among his sheep, and he manages a sort of daring escape. As they're searching his house.
Which is pretty good. It's pretty well, shot. Like
there's one scene where a sheep pisses on Albert's face.
Yeah, that's not really...
I mean, it was a chuckle.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite visual, but,
They could have cut that scene because I think it kind of interrupted the action, the suspense.
Well, no, a little. I don't know. I like the suspense of hiding.
Yeah.
In plain sight, pretty much. Well, yeah, that image, maybe just seeing his head, going around anything, or
Yeah, I like the suspense of that scene, and I think the sheep pissing scene, or peeing, I should say, scene really kind of cut the suspense at the wrong place.
Yeah. If they were trying to go for a comedic effect, they might have had something else, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at any rate, he finds his way out of there
on horseback.
On horseback.
He using some of the lessons that Anna taught him with doing the whip back and forth to make the horse run faster.
Yeah, Stark and Curtis. And they're Clinch is chasing him to a train, which is the nice little set piece. I was like, all movie pretty much. Now we finally get a train. I would have liked to have a different version of a script, maybe a train robbery to happen, but it's too late now. Let's see. And eventually, Stark escapes. He finds his way to this little tribe of natives.
Well, no, he's off in the woods, and he gets a blow dart hits him in the.
Yeah.
He collapses, and he wakes up tied to a post, about to be burned at the stake by the Indians.
Yeah.
Who are speaking. This is the tasteless Indian joke.
Yeah. More tasteless than the one that was made at the fair.
Yeah, which I don't think we actually covered.
We referenced it
basically sharing this country with them 50-50. I don't know why they're upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. They instead of actually speaking Navajo, or actually it might not be Navajo. What was in Arizona?
Whichever language it was.
Whatever the tribe in Arizona was at the time in that area. Instead of speaking their language, they're just speaking random gibberish sounds.
Yeah.
And in the movie, Albert can speak their language.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's a big nerd.
Yeah.
Right. But like at one point he just says to make them stop and listen, he says Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's what clued me into realizing it was gibberish and not actually speaking whatever the language was.
Right.
Because Mila Kunis is the voice of Meg on Family Guy. Like that's someone he knows.
Yeah, she's an actress. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the love interest in the first Ted movie.
Yeah.
So that part I don't like.
Yeah.
But because he can speak their language, they decide to trust him.
Yeah.
So they give him some peyote, and he goes on a vision quest.
Yeah.
Right? And all kinds of weird imagery. He has all kinds of flashbacks to his abusive childhood, where he loses a tooth, and he's like 7. Mm-hmm. And his dad is like, if you put it under your pillow, when you wake up, the tooth fairy will have left you a nice shiny penny.
And then he lifts up the pillow and realizes there's like a big pile of shit.
Yeah, there's a big pile of horse shit.
You know, it's like, there's no tooth fairy, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
You know.
And then he's like, he graduates high school, and Abraham Lincoln shows up to give the graduation speech.
Yeah, voiced by Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
You know, of all people, which is pretty great.
Which is historically accurate. Because according to all the records, Lincoln had a very high-pitched, kind of nasally voice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he talked like this. I can't do Gilbert Gottfried. No. I don't know if he did the high energy, I'm so fucking rich voice, but...
Fourscore!
Yeah.
And 7 years ago!
But anyway, maybe not historically accurate. More historically accurate than if it had been like...
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, basically.
You know.
Who, aside from the voice, was great in that role.
Right.
Anyway.
yeah, there was that little scene, and then there was this weird image, basically, like, not going into his past after the fact. Like, there's a lot of sheep, and they have mustaches on them, you know.
Yeah, and they're singing the song, and they're dancing on 2 legs, and at one point, he, like, slides under a sheep that has giant giraffe legs, and he speaks to him in Patrick Stewart's voice.
Yeah, which is pretty great. You know, he goes through this door, and he's finally on the other side. There's something that one of the natives was saying.
Well, there's a giant condor that attacks him.
Yeah.
And he falls on his back and kicks the condor in its giant condor balls.
Yeah.
Right. And then he wakes up from the peyote dream, and the first thing the chief says was, "Did you go through the door and kick the condor in the balls?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Yes, how did you know?"
Yeah.
"It means you have the spirit of a true warrior within you."
Yeah.
So then it cuts to... the
Stark finally has the courage to go back and face Clinch.
Yeah,
to win back the woman that he wants.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's gonna go back. He's gonna face Clinch, and he realizes he's in love with Anna.
Yeah,
he's gonna go try and save her from Clinch.
So why not?
So it's now the next day. It's time for the duel, right? And Clinch has Anna hostage.
Yeah,
up in the because Anna escapes, and Clinch catches up to her that night. While Stark is having his vision quest.
Right.
And when Clinch shows up where she's hiding, he's got the daisy in his hand.
Yeah.
He's like, "We need to talk."
Yeah.
And sniffs the daisy. Like, he's real intimidating.
Yeah.
He's acting in an entirely different movie than the rest of the cast is.
Yeah. Which is good. I actually like that. Some good performances in there.
Oh, yeah.
Other than just, like, goofing off and having fun. Which I would like to do as an aspiring actor. But
heck yeah.
Not so much, as a, audience member.
Yeah.
But basically they finally fought. They're about to have their little duel, and like earlier, it's like 1, 2, 3 pretty much. Trying to give off that little vibe, and then on the 1, Stark shoots him because he remembers that he always shoots at the 2.
Yeah, because the whole thing is Clinch is like, "Pull out your gun, now point it at me, and we're gonna shoot on 3. 1, 2, bang."
Yep.
Right. So he does it with Stark. He's like, "Pull out your gun," and Stark pulls out his gun. He says, "All right, on 3, 1, bang."
Yep.
And Stark shoots at him and grazes his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I've been gambling for many years, Stark, and I would never have put money on you doing that." And then he shoots the gun out of Stark's hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to give off the impression, like, oh well, he's gonna lose.
Yeah,
it's already done. Like
he shot his shot and he missed.
Yeah, he shot his shot. It's not a fatal wound, and his gun's gone now, so he's gonna die.
He's like,
this is one of those million ways that he is going to die in the West.
Yeah, So he stands up and he's like, can I have one last request? Let Anna live. I kissed her. She didn't kiss me.
Right.
Also my family is Arabic and I need to recite the Muslim death chant. It'll only take a minute. And he starts, doing this like weird chanting noise.
Yeah.
And as he's doing it, he's got one eye open. He's looking at Clinch, and Clinch is kind of starting to stagger around.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, what did you do to me? And he goes to shoot him, but his hand is unsteady and he misses.
Yeah.
He goes to shoot Albert and misses.
Right.
And then Clinch falls.
Yeah.
And this is where Albert does, I think...
The second smartest thing that he's done in this movie.
Yeah, the second smartest thing he's done in this movie. And probably the best line delivery from Seth MacFarlane. He's like, Clinch, rattlesnake venom is deadly. And there's a million ways to die in the West.
Yeah.
And he goes on about how he had rattlesnake venom poured into his bullets. And he's like, I knew that Anna got me in the ballpark. Right. So all I had to do was graze you and introduce the venom into your bloodstream and then keep you talking until it was over. And in the middle of his speech, you hear Ruth go, Albert?
He's already dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
You win.
Oh, well, did he hear the smart stuff that I did?
No. Did you guys hear it? Oh, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. And that was it,
So then Anna runs up to him and gives him a big kiss and is like, what are you going to do with the reward money?
He's like, I didn't even consider that.
And then smash cut to Albert and Anna, married, standing on Albert's front porch, and the horizon to horizon is all sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is sheep god.
Yes, he has become sheep god, and that's credit. And
of course the after credits scene,
we'll get to that. But there's one joke we missed. When he's talking about sheep with Anna, he talks about Bridget, the sheep who has some mental retardation.
Oh yeah,
right. And he calls back to Bridget a few times during the film, and each time it's funny. Yeah. The first time is when
funny in quotation marks.
Yeah, well, ha ha ha.
I mean, I don't know.
The first time he calls back to Bridget, he's like, one time Bridget wandered off to the whorehouse and came back with $20 tied to her collar. The first time you see her, Bridget's up on the roof. So this last time you see her, she's up on the roof.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a chuckle-worthy callback.
Yeah.
So now we go to the credits. You see the title of the movie. And the credits are about to roll, and then it stops, and we're back at the fair.
Yeah.
And all you see is cowboy boots and spurs walking up, right? And so step right up to the shooting gallery. And then you hear... Jamie Foxx go, I'll take a shot.
Yep.
And he rolls up to it, and he looks at the thing that says runaway slave on it, and he pulls his gun, and he shoots the operator dead.
Yep.
He goes, people die at the fair.
That's it.
And where them white women at?
That was great. It was a great callback, reference to, Blazing Saddles too. Because that's one of the peak lines that the actor said in Blazing Saddles, whenever he was trying to hide himself.
He says, people die at the fair.
Yeah.
So it's a great little cameo. It's a good little callback to, you were saying, what was it a callback to?
Well, I mean, not people die in the fair, that's, callback from, earlier in the movie, but whenever you say where the white woman at, that's more a reference to Blazing Saddles himself.
Yeah.
Like the movie, just because the actor, because Gene Wilder was trying to get the, protagonist with him, as like a runaway slave pretty much, so on and so forth, to try to trying to... Yeah. Squeeze by them, and his name was like, where are the white women at? I was like, oh, great, that's the runaway slave, even though he wasn't a runaway slave, which is perfect. It's so great. I just realized, Django, we never mentioned, from the movie Django Unchained. Yeah, by,
much better Western film than this.
Yes, it is.
But I just realized, we haven't said that name, but then again, anyone who listens to this podcast because they've seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, pretty sure that Venn diagram between Million Ways to Die and Django Unchained is just a circle.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Somebody has seen it.
Yeah, but so all in all, this movie was, to me, and I've thought back on this a lot, having to analyze it for this podcast, and I can agree with you that it's not a great film.
No.
Right. To me, a lot of my enjoyment for this movie is tied up to the first time I watched it. I was at a really low point in my life, and I was with a buddy, and she and I watched it together, and we laughed. We watched it in theaters, and we laughed the whole time. It was one of those where we'd both been really sad, we'd both been really, had really rough times, struggled with some depression issues,
right.
And, how when you've been depressed for a while and something is funny, and then all of a sudden everything is funny for a little bit, that's what this movie hit that sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
Right? And so every time I go back to that, I think about how funny it was in the theater, and I laugh at all the jokes all over again.
Yeah, it's just more so what it did to you during that time frame.
Yeah, it's much more my personal bias.
Yeah.
How I experienced this movie is why I enjoy it way more than a lot of people do.
Right.
So, like you said at the beginning, this is probably the least favorite movie that we've reviewed of yours.
Of mine, yeah. Like, this is a 4 out of 10.
Really? Only a 4?
Yeah, I mean...
All the way up to a 4. I was expecting like a 2.
Up to a 4, yeah. No, it's not terrible. Like, the fight choreography was great. The dance choreography was great. Neil Patrick Harris was pretty great.
Set design was good. The costumes, the performances were mostly good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Liam Neeson was pretty great too.
Sarah Silverman basically was just playing herself.
Yeah, I mean, just make some cum jokes and then just it's whatever. And like I mean, the pacing was pretty bad.
Yeah, the story kind of meandered all over the place.
Yeah. But I mean, this is sort of
evidenced by the fact that we had trouble keeping up with the plot, even though we had notes.
Yeah, like having notes. Well, I mean, my notes aren't completely complete.
Neither are mine, but between us, we've got 2.5 pages of notes, and there's not. We still, meandered back and forth a bit because the movie meanders back and forth a bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 4. That's my score for it for now.
Okay, this is real difficult for me. I want to give this movie like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
But then again, I am personally biased towards this movie.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it's your score. It's, what I mean?
Yeah, I can't. In good conscience, I can't give this movie a 7.
Right.
If and when we do Django for this podcast, I will reevaluate it. But just based on the 2 times I've seen it, I would give Django a 6.
Oh.
It's better than average. Average is 5, right? It's better than average, but and your reaction to it leads me to believe that I'll like it more when I watch it.
I mean, it just adds. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything.
Well, no, we don't have to agree, but then again, I have a terrible memory.
Yeah.
So the parts that I remember from Django might not be the parts that I found enjoyable.
Right.
So I can't, in good conscience, give A Million Ways to Die in the West a higher score than I would give Django.
Okay.
Right. So I think I would solidly place it at a 5.
Yeah.
This movie is below average in places and above average in places, and kind of strikes that middle, right down the line. Take your brain off the hook, watch it for a few laughs, understand that some of the jokes aren't going to hit, some of the jokes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would rate this movie as a film a 5. As I enjoy it, I would give it a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
But then again, that's like I've already explained from my personal experiences with it.
Yeah, it's funny. I noticed this too. There's this one point in time, there was this line that was, delivered, and I thought that it would be kind of perfect to cap off this. So I was like, but it's a million better things to do than this. It's just a line that was put out there.
Okay. A million better things to do than watch this movie.
Yes, that's right. A million better things to do than to watch this movie. I'm sure we can think of them.
I can respect your opinion. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of the Doop Movie Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Keith.
Thank you all for listening. People die at the fair.